Two innocent sisters are cornered by a ruthless gang, mocked and threatened simply for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Their leader, Travis Caldwell, believes he can dominate anyone with fear and numbers. But he picked the wrong targets. Layla and Naomi aren't just ordinary women. What happens next will leave you breathless, as the hunters learn what it feels like to become the hunted, and justice strikes back with stunning precision. The streets of Fairfield were unnaturally still that night. A thin mist curled around dim streetlights, and the distant sound of waves crashing against the pier gave the town an eerie calm. Layla and Naomi Johnson jogged side by side, their synchronized strides a reflection of their bond. To the casual observer, they were just two sisters keeping fit after work. But beneath their relaxed expressions was a lifetime of discipline, honed by years in places no one in Fairfield could imagine. They had chosen this town for its quiet, its slowness, a place to disappear. Naomi adjusted her hoodie and glanced at her sister. "You hear that?" she whispered softly, more from habit than fear. Layla didn't break stride. "Engines, 2 blocks back, not our problem." But both sisters knew better. When you've spent years reading danger in the smallest details, a shuffled step, a too long stare, you can feel trouble before it arrives. The sound grew louder, motorcycles, multiple. The roar bounced off the walls of narrow streets, a predator circling its prey. As the twins turned into a parking lot to cut their route short, the glow of headlights flared behind them. 5 men on bikes rolled in, their engines cutting sharply as they dismounted. Leather jackets with snarling wolf emblems caught the light. Travis Big T Caldwell led the pack. Tall, broad, a smirk fixed on his face like he'd already won. Well, what do we have here?" His voice carried an oily charm, the kind that masks something far colder. Layla and Naomi stopped. The air thickened, the mist now wrapping around them like a warning. Naomi's fingers brushed against Layla's, a silent code only they understood. "Out late, huh?" Another man chimed in, twirling a metal chain idly. His grin didn't reach his eyes. "We don't want any trouble," Layla said calmly. Her voice was steady, controlled, but her pulse had already shifted. Not from fear, from calculation. Travis took a slow step forward. "That's funny. Neither do we. So, why don't you hand over your phones and maybe we let you jog home in one piece?" The others laughed, a sound too loud for the empty lot. The circle tightened, boots scuffed against concrete. Naomi lowered her gaze slightly, shoulders tense as if shrinking back. But inside her mind, another version of herself had already woken up, the one that counted exits, measured distances, and tracked enemy movements without a flicker of emotion. "Layla," she murmured almost imperceptibly. Her sister's eyes narrowed just slightly. This wasn't the first time predators had mistaken them for prey, and it wouldn't end the way the iron wolves expected. The laughter echoed in the empty parking lot, bouncing off brick walls like a warning bell. The iron wolves were circling now, their heavy boots crunching against gravel, their grins growing wider with every step. Travis stayed at the center, arms crossed, watching the sisters with the calm confidence of a man who believed he was untouchable. "Not talking anymore?" he taunted. "Thought you girls had spirit." Layla's jaw tightened, but she didn't answer. She knew better than to give him the satisfaction. Her eyes flicked to the left, catching sight of the smallest of the group. Nervous, shifting his weight from foot to foot, probably the weakest link. Naomi, still keeping her head slightly bowed, let her senses stretch outward. 5 targets, 4 weapons visible, a chain, 2 bats, and something heavy in Travis's jacket pocket. 1 exit, blocked by a parked van. No cameras here, no help coming. One of the wolves, a wiry man with a scar across his cheek, stepped too close. "I said, give us the phones." His voice carried a mocking edge, but his eyes betrayed a flash of unease as Naomi finally looked up at him. There was no fear in her gaze, just a quiet, unsettling calm. Scarface scowled. "You deaf or something?" Travis raised a hand, silencing his man. "Easy, Vince. Let's give them a chance to be smart." He took another step forward, looming over Layla. "You know, this could have been easy, but now I'm starting to think you're both just plain rude." The other men chuckled, but the sound felt hollow. It was bravado. They didn't notice how the mood had shifted, how the twins' stillness was no longer submission, but the coiled patience of predators waiting for the perfect strike. Naomi's fingers flexed slightly at her side. She remembered the sound of gunfire in distant war zones, the chaos of missions gone wrong. Compared to that, this was nothing. Travis tilted his head, mistaking their silence for fear. "Fine, have it your way." He motioned to the man with the chain. "Teach him some manners." The man grinned and swung the chain in a lazy arc as he approached Naomi. The metallic links whistled softly through the air, but Naomi didn't flinch. She tilted her head slightly, eyes narrowing as if she were studying him. "You sure you want to do that?" she said quietly. Her voice was soft, but carried a weight that made the man hesitate mid-step. He laughed nervously, trying to shake off the strange chill that ran through him. "What's she gonna do? She's tiny." Tiny. That word hung in the air like a taunt to the universe itself. Layla finally spoke, her tone even, almost bored. "Last chance to walk away." Travis's smirk deepened. "Or what?" Naomi's gaze locked on his. "Or you'll find out why silence doesn't mean fear." For the first time, a flicker of doubt passed over Travis's face, but it was too late. The wolves had cornered their prey. They just didn't know who the predators really were. The sound of the chain swinging through the air cut sharply in the silence. Vince took another step, his grin faltering as Naomi straightened to her full height. Gone was the timid posture. In its place stood a woman, radiating unshakable control, her gaze locked on him with the precision of a hawk. "Don't," she said again, her voice low and steady. But Vince was too far gone to notice. He lunged forward, the chain arcing toward her shoulder. It never landed. In a flash, Naomi's hand shot up, catching the chain mid-swing. The momentum jolted Vince forward, off balance. Before he could react, she yanked hard, pulling him toward her, and pivoted gracefully, using his own force to send him sprawling to the ground. The other gang members froze. Layla moved next, stepping forward with a smooth, unhurried stride. The bat-wielding man raised his weapon, but her hand shot out like lightning, gripping his wrist and twisting just enough to make him drop it with a pained gasp. A swift kick sent the bat skidding across the asphalt. Travis's confident smirk vanished. His eyes darted between the sisters, now standing back to back, their movements flawless, their breathing calm. "Who?" he started, but the words caught in his throat. Layla's eyes met his, cold and unblinking. "You really thought we were just two helpless women?" One of the wolves made a desperate move, charging Naomi from behind. She sidestepped easily, planting her elbow in his ribs with a force that knocked the air out of him. He crumpled to his knees, clutching his side. The last standing gang member hesitated, his eyes wide with panic. Travis, what do we do?" But Travis wasn't answering. His hand hovered near his jacket pocket where the faint outline of a weapon bulged. Layla saw it instantly. Naomi. In perfect synchronicity, Naomi spun toward Travis just as he drew a handgun. A sharp kick connected with his wrist, sending the weapon clattering to the ground. She stepped closer, her voice a whisper only he could hear. "Big mistake." Travis stumbled backward, his arrogance shattered, replaced by a fear he couldn't mask. The iron wolves were no longer predators. They were prey, cornered, broken, and utterly outmatched. The parking lot was silent now, save for the ragged breathing of the iron wolves. Travis sat slumped against the cold asphalt, clutching his wrist where the gun had been knocked away. His wide eyes dartily between the two women standing above him, no longer just joggers in hoodies, but silent phantoms of precision and power. Naomi crouched slightly, her calm gaze locked on him. "You made a choice tonight," she said, her voice even, almost gentle. "But so did we." Travis didn't answer. His lips parted as if to speak, but no sound came out. Layla stood a step behind, scanning the area. The mist was thicker now, curling low to the ground. Flashing lights appeared faintly in the distance. Sirens. Someone must have called the police. "They'll be here in 3 minutes," Layla noted quietly. Naomi straightened. "Plenty of time." She turned her back on Travis without another word. The rest of the gang lay scattered around the lot, groaning softly, too dazed to rise. The twins moved together in silence, retrieving their hoodies and pulling them up. Their steps were unhurried, light, as if they'd just finished a casual evening run. By the time the first patrol car screeched to a halt, Layla and Naomi had already slipped into the shadows between two buildings, their figures dissolving into the night. The officers stepped out, stunned by the sight before them. 5 grown men, battered and broken, trying and failing to explain what had happened. We were attacked," Travis stammered, pointing in the direction the sisters had gone. 2 of them. Just 2. But even as he said it, the words felt ridiculous. The lead officer frowned, glancing at the security camera above the lot's entrance. "Let's check the footage." Hours later, grainy video would show the wolves provoking the women, then a blur of movement too fast to follow. No names, no clear faces, only the unmistakable image of power unleashed and then withdrawn. On a rooftop 2 blocks away, Layla and Naomi watched the flashing lights below. "You think they'll learn?" Naomi asked, her tone light but edged with exhaustion. Layla gave a faint, almost imperceptible smile. "People like that never do." They sat in silence for a moment, the wind tugging gently at their hoods. "Tomorrow?" Naomi said. "Tomorrow," Layla agreed, and with that, they disappeared into the night. To Fairfield, they were ghosts. But to those who had tried to break them, they would forever be a lesson written in fear,